shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the canoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
The Portal Boys be podcasting. This is Joshua.
This is Elias.
And we are back.
Yeah, man. This is our first episode back in a while, man.
And
We're home.
A little bit of a hiatus, man.
Yeah.
A little bit of a hiatus. So we had some, tech difficulties with, a whole bunch of stuff up here. All kinds of stuff happened, man. The computer went down. And then the microphones were acting funky. And just, it was several things. And
it was just, one little... hurdle after another to just kind of test our strengths.
And I'm no professional.
Oh god! Neither of us are.
I'm just figuring the shit. I'm playing it by the seat of my by the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Whenever something like this comes up, it's pretty much like YouTube videos and Reddit threads, hoping that I can get it figured out. And I had some trouble, bro.
I know there was some hair pulling and frustration definitely coming through.
Some legitimately sleepless nights. Yeah.
But we powered through it, and we're come out the other side even better. We decided that we're going to move forward and hit it straight on season 6.
Yeah, man. Seasons 3 through 5 can suck my cock. That's where I'm at.
That's
with
a deep cut.
Yeah, man. All those seasons weren't worth a shit. Fuck them. No, they were great seasons, but we want to do season 6 because it's coming out now, and we've kind of gotten our legs under us with our podcasting. We've gotten all the tech stuff worked out. We kind of got to sharpen our swords on seasons 1 and 2. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna get to live out there in the wild for forever, but we're trying to double down and keep up with what's going on during season 6, and then maybe afterwards we'll retroactively.
Yeah, we can always
some other stuff.
Go back and do one-off episodes of talking about great episodes we liked or the ones that kind of stick out.
It'd be fun to maybe do a review of the entire seasons. A season 3 review, a season 4 review, a season 5 review. Yeah. That way, give us something to do. Because I'm certain they're going to give us another year and a half, 2-year wait between seasons.
Yeah, I think that's one of those
assholes.
They definitely they definitely Cartman it, right? Like Cartman from South Park when he's like, you can't come into the theme park. Definitely gatekeep it as long as possible to make sure that it's
it makes you thirsty.
Yeah,
there's a good song leaves you wanting to hear it again.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing is they're like, man, you really are gonna be itching for Rick and Morty again by the time it's time we're putting it out.
So you were saying the name again, and what was the name of this one? This one was
Solaricks.
Yeah,
or Solaricks.
Yeah, which makes a little bit more sense. Solaricks, because
How do you, is it Solaricks or Solaricks? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a make-believe word.
Yeah.
I need a person who publishes his encyclopedias on deck. Because they show you how to say the word in the dictionary. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how to read it when I see that. That's just as confusing.
You couldn't phonetically say
it. It's it's even more whenever I see how they say it's more confusing for me.
It always messes with me.
What? But so the seasons, the episode of the season and episode starts with Rick and Morty dying.
Yeah.
Literally they're
skin and bones. They're
dying of starvation. Rick's been drinking his own piss.
How much of that is 60% fun?
It's all fun. The whole show is fucking fun. And I love that Rick's breaking the fourth wall, explaining how I didn't ever think I'd go this way. I thought it was better than this. And even Morty's bro, who was that for? What are you what were you talking about? And then you said something about
he pretends
it's
not.
It's a callback. Yeah.
Well, he pretends not to know who Iron Man is, and
it may also it may not have been that it may have just been trying to prevent himself from having to pay. Again, he's aware of it. He's aware of it being a TV show.
Yeah.
And so he might just be trying to save production some money.
It's who's Iron Man?
Yeah, that person who is not Iron Man but is distinctly similar to Iron Man.
I saw
but the fourth wall break of it is what's so fun to me.
I saw Homer get away with something pretty interesting. He put the Simpsons put his face on Cinderella's body, and was what are you doing? He makes a cut in the space-time continuum, and he's literally who is that supposed to be? And he's it's Princess Homer.
Oh my god!
It was such a. I mean, even though they work for Disney, I'm sure that they still were we don't want to pay for that particular property to be cross-referenced in our television show.
Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, you don't want your entire show's budget to go to paying for references, so that you can have better zingers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it was pretty funny. I love the fact that they're kind of getting into the Simpsons is definitely one of those that can grow with the times. But this isn't a Simpsons podcast, so we'll worry about the.
Fuck the Simpsons. That shit is dumb. Even though like the whole show, everyone on the show who makes the show is smart as shit.
Yeah,
like literally like have been like published in science. But either way, like you said, we're not here to talk about the Simpsons. We can jock ride other creators other times.
Yeah,
but tonight we're talking about the Portal Boys and Rick and Morty and the guys who make that. And so they get back home, and Rick makes Morty shove his sandwich through a digestive.
He like grabs the sandwich from his hands, like looking out for his best interest. Like, our body could go into shock if we eat the sandwich the way it is.
So it turns it into nutrient paste.
Digestabot, come here.
Turn the sandwich into nutrient paste.
And then so Digestabot is like chewing it up, spits it out.
It has a whole digestive system that you can see.
And he literally like this nutrient paste, and like Morty's like nibbling on it, like, depressingly.
And you can see it doesn't throw him into shock. So it's like, cool. Which, again, I don't understand how it being pre-digested into paste, like it has the same nutritional value.
Yeah,
like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like it
chewing and masticating it and swallowing
like the moment that you eat it, it's going to have the same nutritional value. And so why does it having the joy smashed out of it make it any less like able to send you into fresh nutrient shock?
I think but that's the funny thing about like Rick is the devil. He likes taking joy from things. Bro,
how are you going to take away the joy of a fresh sandwich from someone who is starving?
Because he's the literal devil. He's literally the devil.
Even according to the devil, Rick's the devil. Yeah, I know I'm the devil, but he's the devil.
Yeah.
Like, so it's all whiny about it.
Yeah, so it's just like, if he can and also Morty's the only person who essentially calls him out on his bullshit. Summer wants to be his sidekick, so it kind of lets things slide.
Summer wants Rick's affection so bad it's unreal.
And Beth, of course, Beth is I think
will sabotage her whole marriage for the sake of getting a nugget of attention from Mr. Sanchez.
But he literally calls him out deep cut again, like for saying granted instead of granted.
Yeah,
he uses the literal like the rock instead of.
I take it for granted instead of for granted.
Yeah, so he's like the only one who's willing to take the piss out of Rick, and so Rick does like, if I can fuck his sandwich up in the meantime to like make sure he doesn't get that little set of joy. He called me out on pretending like I didn't know Iron Man,
He remembers, too. That guy's a fucking asshole. But so, he goes to the garage, and he says that he's going to reset the portal fluid.
He says, give it a second because the earth might shake.
Yeah, and he literally pours the portal fluid into a fucking metal tub, hooks it up with some jumper cables, hooks the jumper cables up to the wall. There's a Frankenstein switch on the wall. He pulls it, and he accidentally resets portal travelers instead of portal travel.
Yeah.
And so basically everybody starts pulsating green with the exclusion of the two Beths in Summer.
Yeah.
Even Jerry's pulsating.
Yeah.
And they wind up getting sent to like their original dimensions, which obviously like this is going to be chaos, right? Like Rick's going back to his OG dimension. That's going to bring up some shit.
Yeah, one of the two Beths are a clone. They don't particularly say which one, so they're not going to pull screen, and that's Summer's dimension. So
yeah, and then it's the Jerry Berea episode. The Jerry daycare. They actually accidentally got him switched up.
He cuts him off a number of times because he doesn't like essentially what the psychiatrist or psychologist says. For Rick to explain is for Rick to give credence to you actually mattering. So why would I tell Jerry why this matters when in the grand scheme of things Jerry doesn't matter? But Jerry
understanding means little.
Yeah, but Jerry's like, you could have explained this to me, and he's like, yeah, but there's no need for you to wallow in you being correct. Like, we're about to disappear. And then he still doesn't disappear, and he's like, or he still doesn't
like, bro, there was so much time. There was so much time. Hindsight's 2020 though.
And then finally, I think after the second zinger, or the second him proving that Jerry is like not important, he finally gets to like go back to his, and his is season 2.
Season 2. Yeah, he gets switched spots with season 2 Jerry.
Yeah, so his is like basically just consistently getting shit on.
Yeah, everybody just shitting on him at the dinner table.
Yeah.
But so Morty goes back to the wild, overgrown Cronenberg world,
which is amazing. Yeah.
Where he runs into Jerry and he actually stabs Jerry, and Jerry's first response is like, "Damn, there's no doctors anymore." Like, fuck.
Yeah.
And Jerry reveals around the campfire that Beth got sick after de-thawing.
Yeah.
And Summer never thawed right, and so they're both dead.
Yeah.
It's actually like, so Morty's actual real sister and real mom are both dead.
Yeah.
Due to them having been frozen by the representatives of the Citadel of Rick, the Rick representatives. The Rick representatives.
The Rick representatives. The weird thing, like Jerry gets self-actualized, right? Like he actually. Like,
I mean, evil Rick at the end is like, "Wow, you really arced out."
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like you fucking figured some stuff out.
Yeah.
And so again, bro, like Jerry conquered the apocalypse. Like Morty even goes, "We were all really underestimated."
I said Rick, but I meant Jerry. Jerry actually becomes like self-aware about all of his faults. He reads Eat, Pray, Love.
The Four Agreements.
And then
the Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight are like one of the Batmans.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've become like self-aware of all my misgivings and like my shortcomings.
I think it was like once everybody was gone, there was no one left for me to work on but myself, and I had to like get real with myself. And so Morty, while they're like, first off, one of the wildest moments of the entire episode is. Jerry kills, or actually Morty killed a Cronenberg, but then Jerry pulls its brain out and roasts it over the fire, and he goes, "It's crazy, you know, sometimes these brains are still completely intact. It makes you wonder if they were still trapped in there, just captured in the horror."
Which I think that they were, because at the end of the Cronenberg episode, they are kind of like consistently going back to some sort of normalcy, like...
Yeah, like there was an entire civilization where there were already Cronenbergs, right? But like, who knows? But at the end, so what winds up happening is Morty is trying to like play family with like fucking arced out Jerry, and he goes to get downbeat, and Jerry dips. Jerry like leaves him a note saying that like
he's robbed him.
Yeah, like my plan's to like steal all your shit and dip.
Yeah.
And then Morty like doesn't even finish the note and runs right into a trap that Jerry had set for him. And Jerry's like, "I had to write this note fast because I was setting a trap, and I thought you'd have cooler shit by."
Yeah. And Jerry being like so arced out, he literally lets Morty have it. Like he essentially tells him like, this is your fault.
He's like, "You abandoned us."
Yeah.
And Morty's like, I deserve that.
Yeah.
And then he lays into him and is like, "Bro, like your sister and your mom died.
Yeah.
Like, am I finally cool enough for you? I only had to lose everything."
Yeah. And the funny thing is that's definitely a very Rick way of thinking. Like Rick definitely tarnished this poor guy because like
what happened is that Jerry lost everything and let go.
Yeah.
Rick lost everything and let go. Like those two guys, like you understand that like Rick is the arced out version of himself in quite the same way as the Jerry who we just met is the arced out version of Jerry. Like we just have been introduced to Rick at a much later point in his like life trajectory. You know what I'm saying? And so it's neat how you can actually relate Jerry.
And he even offers to take him back to like non-Cronenberg land, but like
he's like, "Bro, I don't think you get it. Aside from this conversation, my life is perfect.
Yeah.
Rick was right. We all should learn to let go."
Yeah, which is
and
horrible.
just like walks into the woods,
which is
never to be seen again.
Yeah, which is crazy because like he's literally like, "You threw us away. Now it's kind of my turn. I get to." Like besides this conversation,
wasn't even throwing him away. You'd have to possess him.
Yeah.
To throw him away, like he didn't even give a fuck to ever have been holding him. He was like, "I'm way done." Like, way done.
Yeah.
And Morty's like, "Please don't go," being a little bitch. And
Jerry's like, a kid.
Jerry's like, "I don't give a fuck." Well, why the fuck does he give a fuck all of a sudden? He didn't give a fuck whenever they got frozen. and he never came back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why fuck's given now all of a sudden? You know what I'm saying? It's because you're being confronted with it, you little shithead.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
like,
definitely.
You're a little shithead, man.
Yeah.
You should have fucking...
He's not.
Should have done... addressed how you felt about this way before you, whenever you're being confronted. Which I'm also like a fat ass old man.
Yeah, but
Morty's like a 14-year-old.
That's
so
what I'm
like,
saying. Like,
I can't be upset at him for not hashing his like adult level traumas out in a
definitely.
fast amount of time.
I know you don't live in the Matrix, but definitely like I wish that you would have seen Into the Wild at 14, and then Into the Wild at 20, and then Into the Wild at 30.
I've never seen Into the Wild at all.
It's exactly the same thing. It's like you see it as a 20-year-old, and you see a young man going into Alaska and letting go of everything. And then in your 20s, you see the same thing.
Is this about this dumbass who goes and dies alone in the woods?
Yeah.
What a dumbass.
You see it as a teenager of him like letting everything go and just kind of going on an adventure. And then in your 20s, you kind of become a little bit more realized that he was being selfish. And then in your 30s, you're like, this guy's a prick.
Yeah, am I at the end of the arc where this guy's just an asshole?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I didn't get any of the like. Other
well, yeah.
feelings.
Well, like you didn't visit it throughout the thing and
all I got was the end of like this fucking asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only feeling. Yeah. So I was robbed of those other experiences.
You were robbed of the
whatever it could have been something that I was like, oh, look at that. I could have like, I could have like glamorized it or romanticized it, but instead I'm just like, this fucking prick.
Yeah, exactly.
What was he thinking? But so, Morty winds up catching up to Jerry. He's like mounted some Cronenberg and is chasing him down. And so yeah, Jerry basically tells him to fuck off entirely, right?
Yeah.
Dips off into the woods. And as Morty's like walking off and crying, Rick comes crashing into his reality. And this is a great opportunity for us to talk about what happened to Rick whenever Rick got split. Remember, all these characters went to their original realities. And so Rick goes to his original reality, and remember, like, this is where all the shit that teed up the entire series went down.
Yeah, this is the Szechuan sauce.
Exactly. This is Canonville. He's literally in Canonverse. Like, the OG, anything that happens here is going to establish canon. And he has a fucking torture bot.
Yeah.
He has a
it's literally a voice of his dead wife haunting him in every room except for the one that he's in.
Always a room away.
Yeah.
You know how he has like the AI that manages all of his projects in the garage, who tried to sustain its own life by offering to suck the neighbor's dick. He has a torture wife equivalent who like literally talks shit. Yeah. She's like, you gonna fail at that, like how you failed to keep your family safe? Like, bro, like real life shit talk. That like, and Rick's like, mute. She's like, if I could be muted, I wouldn't be very good at torturing you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love how as he's flying off, she's like, it's not my fault. Torture, a torturer's gonna, or a haunter's gonna haunt.
So clearly, I think we were right in saying that he turns that seed into some sort of like alcohol. Or something that subsists his like cognitive ability to be like at an 11, because whenever he's at the old place, he's like, "Oh, I used to actually drink here." Like he has like.
Well, I think also he might have just been like, "I used to drink." I know that saying. It's like, he acts like he drinks a lot now, but he used to do way more drinking. I think that's what it is. I don't think that he was alluding to that he's doing something other than drinking now.
Yeah.
I think he was saying that, like, man, I used to have a real problem with alcohol back then. Like, I was drinking 10 times as much back then, and, like, look at what I did. And,
so at this point, there's, he's basically, like, getting all the necessary things to fly into the void, but as he's doing all the things to kind of like go into the void, he gets interrupted by a neighbor across the street or next door who essentially tells him like, oh, we've been essentially put in this timeline by someone who obviously can't let something go, or I can't particularly let something go. I'm not able to age, and I wrote myself this letter, And I just...
Well, I can't die. He's
I can't
old
die.
as shit.
Yeah, he's like, I can't die. And so you look out, and there's like a 60-year-old paper boy throwing the same paper. Someone dragging a skeleton of a dog who's like basically dressed like someone from like the 1980s in like a windbreaker suit.
Yeah, everybody's he's got them on repeat. He's got them all doing Groundhog Day every day.
And which is, like, could you imagine? I mean, who knows when he left this particular time? But that's essentially like the definition of hell.
Well, I mean, you can tell because, so.
How old is Beth? Is what.
Yeah, well, so she's the same age as Jerry.
Yeah.
Because they were in high school together.
Yeah.
And Summer is like 15.
Yeah.
Or 16.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She's not of legal age. And so. And
they had her when she got pregnant when they were.
Yeah, so we're talking. This is at least 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because Beth had them at 18.
Yeah.
So that's 33 years right there in total. But Beth was maybe 4 years old whenever this all happened.
Yeah.
So we're talking, this is like 30 years ago, somewhere in there. So this would have been like the 1990.
Yeah.
This would have been like 1992.
Yeah, and literally
You know
living
what I'm
the
saying?
same day over and over again from 92.
Right about the time whenever they made Groundhog Day, actually.
Yeah.
When did they make Groundhog Day?
It's probably like 90, right? 91, 90.
What a coincidental alignment.
They probably did that on purpose.
Probably, these fucking dudes.
You can knowing these guys, who knows?
I can't give them enough credit.
Yeah, and so he essentially like flips another switch that's in the wall and gives him
whoa, sweet death.
Yeah.
Flop.
So he just basically gives him what he's been looking for, which was death, and the torture bot essentially says like, "Are you going into the void to change things?"
Yeah, like, are you letting me go?
Yeah,
or was that figurative? Are you actually letting me go?
Because that would be the healthy thing to do.
Yeah, everybody's like, bruh.
Yeah.
But so Rick does in fact fly straight into the rift freehand.
Yeah.
And then while he's there, he basically gets told by the AI of his dead wife that, hey, whoever we've been tracking all this time, they also just had what happened to you happen to them.
Yeah.
And it occurs to Rick that he just got sent to Cronenberg world.
Yeah.
And so at this point it reveals that Rick is involved with Morty to start because he went to that reality to hunt the killer of his family. Mm-hmm. So that's how, like, this is like a really big reveal.
It really is, yeah.
That, like, this has never been explained. Like, they just revealed that, like, Morty's actual grandpa is the killer of Rick's family.
Yeah. He's the one who actually figured out the whole mess with the portal gun, how to make it sustainable.
The first one.
Yeah, the very first one.
Yeah.
Comes to him and basically says,
he's the real deal.
Yeah, you're gonna figure this out the way I figured this out. So like, what are we like? Let's do this together. Like, let's figure this out. And he'd prefer to just be with his family than
this isn't a deal Rick's pass up on.
Yeah.
But so at this point, he realizes what's going on, and he tells the Beths and Summer they're gonna have to hold out while he goes and gets Morty.
Yeah.
Not telling them that he's going to hunt down a version of himself.
Yeah.
But so he goes, crashes in Morty's landing, in Morty's reality, and we're where we were at the end of the Morty tale of this story. So now Morty's end of the story and Rick's end of the story have tailed together, and we mentioned previously how the Beths and Summer are all actually from this reality.
Yeah, and they get to kind of go to this like intermediate kind of place to help.
Well, they go to the Citadel.
That's right.
They go to the remnants of the Citadel, and they set up a beacon to get everyone home.
Yeah.
And at that point, whenever Rick decides to go to get Morty instead of going directly there, they get attacked by like these like octopus monsters, like these fifth dimensional octopus monsters.
And Summer's all for it because now she gets to use her Wolverine claws, which
is a thing that she got paid in for having Rick. Like Rick has like a fucking vending machine of cool tech that she gets vouchers for every time she helps him, and he's just building her out with fucking dope ass tech. That's cool.
And so like she's like, wait, let's let them attack first, because if they attack first, then I get to.
And then bow.
Yeah.
They shoot at her, and she goes, "Do this," and she just starts going ham on them boys.
And so, Resistance Beth and
Space Beth and Domestic Beth
are kind of having this back and forth because Space Beth is like a badass.
Well, they're just competing for Summer's attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it turns out that right now Summer's all about that Space Beth.
Yeah. And like, what does she say? She goes, "My love is fleeting.
My attention's fleeting. Don't compete for it.
Don't compete for it." Yeah. So it's like it's very honest about the way.
Most teenagers aren't that self-aware either.
Yeah.
Like, she's very self-aware.
She's like,
if she's able to communicate that.
Yeah. She's like, listen, like neither one of you two are gonna keep my affection for too long. So don't fight for it because it's not worth anything.
Yeah, it's fleeting, right? Like tomorrow will be about something entirely.
It'll be about a boy. It'll be about
a
pop band. You know.
Exactly. But so they wind up holding them off just long enough to hash out their shit, right? Like,
and even like, I love how even Rick remarks on like, "I'm glad this battle didn't take any longer than it was supposed to," you know?
Yeah.
He like basically says like, and he's such a prick. Like, he still comes in and like manages to like crush the final boss in like this like, Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. Is like, well. It didn't seem like that big of a battle to begin with. So.
Yeah, it's like this. What does he say? This emergency was overstated to me, and he just like literally, like he said, crushes it with his ship, steps out and like sprays it with 2 sprays of something, and it just like turns itself inside out. Yeah. And so like if they just had the right tools, they could have made the fight really easy. But like again, Rick didn't tell them what to do.
Yeah,
and
just hold him off long enough for him to get there.
Yeah, and so. Rick and Morty wind up going and fighting a bunch of like they go to track down the actual Rick and Morty together again, mm-hmm. and they track the Rick to like it's like an invisible base, and it looks like they're in space, and Morty's like trying to hold his breath, and Rick's just like, this guy's just really doesn't like to be found and really likes to make elaborate shit. Imagine playing a lot of Minecraft on a private server. Yeah. And
I think he just like, does he like shoot something, or he just like he shoots in some random area?
I don't know how. I don't remember.
And I think it just like everything just turns off. Like he just basically.
Oh no, he like throws a piece of tech.
Is that what it is?
He throws a piece of tech out, and it like undoes whatever cloaking mechanism this secret base has.
And this Rick is just as like kind of petty and like
cynical.
He's like, oh, I don't know which Rick I'm talking to, but if it's the one I'm talking to, it's pre-recorded, so it doesn't really matter.
Which, if you notice, the entire time that Rick's moving about, he's looking at him.
Yeah.
Like his eyes in the recording are tracking Rick the entire time.
Which of course any Rick would want to make sure that he, like, even if it's not recorded, he doesn't want to be the weakest, because at that point, like, that Rick is better. I mean, that's the Rickest of Ricks. Like, he legit turned down the Rick that like doesn't happen to him.
I think these are the 2 top Ricks. I think that this is that there's a class of Ricks who bail on the family, and there's a class of Ricks who don't.
Yeah.
And I think that our Rick is the top of the class of the ones who don't, and that other Rick is the top of the class of the ones who do.
Yeah.
And like they're just at the tip of the spear. And like they're just barely leaning on either side, and like one of them.
So it's funny that like I guess the cynical Rick that basically abandoned that Morty is technically evil, and the Rick that was abandoned by that, or the Morty that was abandoned by that Rick, is considered the evil Morty, and even gets dismissive of like.
Hold on, what about evil Morty?
Evil Morty is the Morty of the grandpa of Rick that went back to haunted Beth, like the haunted era, right?
I don't think they've ever communicated that because the one who went back to haunted Beth, that's our Rick. I don't think they've ever communicated.
Oh, there wouldn't be a Rick in that dimension because Beth is dead. You're right.
Exactly.
But he basically communicates that Rick was abandoned by his that Morty was abandoned by his Rick. That's why he particularly became so jaded, right?
Well, he said that. I think the one you're talking about is whenever Morty asks if he was being used as bait.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nah, man. Like that guy ain't coming around at all." And yeah, what did you say that it concluded?
Well, I'm just saying these are two people who have like severe issues and are both considered really evil. Like this particular Rick is.
Oh, we were talking about the origination of Evil Morty. I don't believe that Evil Morty is our Rick's. Yeah, because again, our Rick doesn't have a grandson.
Yeah.
Our Rick's family died because all the Ricks who turned down the deals, families died.
Yeah.
And so every Rick who's with a family is with the family
is with the fake family
of a killer.
Yeah.
Like their grandpa was a killer and left them, and then these other Ricks come in. And so I don't think that Evil Morty is C-137's Morty.
Yeah, because it wouldn't exactly happen because Beth didn't exist.
Yeah. But basically, man, Rick falls for this bait. And so it's like killing all the kill bots and like falling into this trap. And Morty is actually the one who snaps him out of it, and
by basically just like sending himself to the slaughter.
He's like, bro, what are you, a suicide bomber now? You did this last season too.
Yeah.
But the thing that tips Morty over the scale is that his moms are in danger.
Yeah.
And so he's like, those versions of your mom, you know, like,
and he's already like let. Like this is a Morty who's already let one Summer and Beth down, so he's extra feeling it.
Absolutely. But so at this point, they go and save the Beths and Summers, right? Steps out, Deus Ex Machina, fucking hits it with the spray, everything's all good. They get saved by Rick, and then they all go get Jerry. And again, like we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Jerry's in like a season 2 situation where he's just like sitting there,
just getting lambasted,
getting shit on, and he gets a knock at the door, and it's his wife, and he's like, oh, like you can tell he's like so relieved to see his real wife.
Yeah. And
he's so taken aback by it that he like comes back and is like, you guys fucking suck.
Yeah, I'm an interdimensional traveler, and y'all are like, yeah.
And like hits him with the middle fingers and like slowly backs away and obviously like bumbles into the door. And it's like a putz about it, but like
he still gets his point across.
Tells that family to fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're used to dealing. Like, they're in season 2 world.
Yeah, they're
Jerry's going to come back, and he's still going to be the punching bag they expect him to be. He was like, man, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
And then he goes.
I already like floated into like hit an airplane, took down an entire airplane for my own. Ego.
Yeah, like, bro, I was like, for the sake of not having Rick's help, I took down an airplane.
Yeah.
And so I love that he even tells Beth, like, man, I'm glad we spent that time divorced.
Right, yeah,
like,
yeah.
Fucking
like,
A.
Yeah, we needed the time apart.
Yeah. And then they all like get together in their reality, and they're like, they have this like
finally home,
wholesome little moment, like, this is all our real original reality type shit.
Yeah.
And the season 2 Jerry comes out,
takes a shower. He's taking a shower.
He's just been like having a resort time. He's just fucking having a blast while they're all gone, having the home to himself. And he has
Mr. Grundles,
Mr. Frumples, Mr. Grumples,
Grundles, I think.
Crumples, I don't know. There's a triangle. It's a sentient triangle in a like
pet carrier.
Yeah, in like a cat crate. Which why it couldn't bite the cat crate? It's sci-fi crate. It's sci-fi crate.
Yeah.
But he lets it out, and it immediately bites him, and like his foot turns into Mr. Frumples.
I like how Summer is just like Mr. Grumples.
Yeah.
You know, just like doesn't even know what this character is, but immediately like shames it like a pet. Like, oh, I want to keep this thing. It's adorable.
It's like, oh, that's not how you act, Mr. Frumples.
Yeah. And then his leg is like, I'm Mr. Frumples, and then bites his face. His leg bites his face, and his face turns like this, like Japanese
into Mr. Frumples.
Frumples, and then it bites the carpet and it bites the wall, and it's all Mr. Frumples. And they're like, can't we just like fix this? And Mr. Frumples' face goes on top of the entire planet and drains the ocean. And he's like...
I mean, Mr. Frumples takes over the entire planet, and they're like, And the next scene is them in a house where an explosion went off, where the entire family's dead, and they all bury the family as a family.
Yeah.
Which is great.
And this is kind of like where the two Beths come to a realization of, like, maybe she can come around a little bit more. She's always welcome back. Summer's like, you know, it's kind of taking the piss out of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You know, and
they kind of have like a healthier arrangement. And the big kicker is that in this reality, because it was kind of a rush job, they don't say Parmesan the way we say it.
Parmesan or whatever?
Parmesan cheese. I hate it.
I hate it. And he's just like, him and Rick kind of have this like little summit where it's like, you know, this is now a reality.
Who's this?
Rick and Morty. They kind of have this little summit while they're standing over the freshly dug bodies, and the families basically called them out for actually caring about them, and everybody's just kind of like, you know, like he's just kind of like, I guess we're just gonna have to deal with Parmesan.
This is also the moment whenever he asks, you know, can you be real with me? Am I really bait? And he's like, nah, man, that dude's the real dude. Yeah, that dude's the real deal. And then the episode ends, and then there's actually like an fine dental cutscene where Evil Rick is obviously on Cronenberg planet with Jerry. And, bro, Jerry straight cuts this fool's throat. Yeah. But luckily, I say luckily, unluckily, luckily for Evil Rick, he had some type of nanofiber defense mesh. His throat grows back, and he just fucking
But he's very happy. He's very proud of... I mean, as proud as you can be for someone that you...
Well, he doesn't have any relationship with Jerry. Yeah. He doesn't have... Like, he's like, I never even got too close to the concept. But he's like, what a badass. Yeah. Bam. Yeah. And then he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I think about that bam all the time myself. You know what I'm saying? And like, so he ends the fuck out of arced out Jerry.
Which is just a shame.
You know, he had nothing left to hold on to. He was already gone. But what do you think your favorite part of the whole episode was, man?
Oh, my favorite part of the whole episode was probably, I would have to say, the text scene. I think that was like the best part of it.
In the very beginning?
In the very beginning, when she's like, maybe I just won't save you. And she legit can't even hear what they're saying. She just knows they're being little pricks. Yeah. And she's like, well, maybe I just like stage left, you know?
Yeah, how about I just don't come and help you guys at all?
And he's like remarking like, we can't hear you. Voice travels through air.
Sound travels on air. How fucking dumb are you?
So what about you? What's your favorite part of this?
Man, it was a really good episode all around. I think that my favorite part of the episode was finding out that Morty's OG grandpa is Evil Rick.
I know, it's right. It really is.
Like, that was like a juicy, like, oh god, this is something I get to chew on now.
I think it's definitely one of those that you got to respect the arc of the television show.
Yeah, well, all right, fellow incels, that's a wrap on this episode. We're gonna continue to be involuntary celibate over here and produce a whole other episode about this fucking TV show that everybody likes, because everybody's like us. We're one of the millions of people who are slaves to what they put on TV. But yeah, anything else you want to say on the way out?
Thank y'all guys for watching. Can't wait for episode 2.
Thank these incels.
Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth.